Tensions between Russia and Ukraine have reached new heights following a standoff at sea. Yesterday, 3 Ukrainian ships were sailing off the coast of Crimea. That territory was annexed by Russia in 2014. Russia opened fire and its special forces seized the ships. Ukraine says 6 of its men were injured, and its government now considers them prisoners of war.
Як Верховний Головнокомандувач Збройних сил України.
Today, Ukraine declared martial law. That means a partial mobilization and strengthening of the country's air defense. Russia's foreign minister called the incident a provocation.
Была однозначная провокация.
Meanwhile, the United Nations held an emergency meeting and is urging the two sides to de-escalate.
We express our deep concern over the incident,
with NATO saying there's no justification for the use of military force against the ships.
We call for calm and restraint.
So how serious is this escalation, and what kind of support is Canada looking to, or is Ukraine looking to Canada for? Andrei Shevchenko is the Ukrainian ambassador to Canada. Hi, Ambassador. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Vasha.
I really appreciate your time. I wanted to start off by asking you that we know that the incident involved the seizure of Ukrainian ships and soldiers. What can you tell us about the health or the status of those soldiers?
The soldiers are our main concern, as you can imagine, and we don't know much about them. So there are 24 soldiers which were captured by the Russians. At least 6 of them are wounded, and our consul does not have any access to them. So we can only guess, and we really want to make sure that we get them back as soon as possible.
Ukrainian parliament has voted to impose martial law. What does that mean?
That means that the president will have all the tools available in case the Russia chooses to further escalate the situation. And also it's very important to know that this martial law will not interfere with the planned presidential election.
That's for March?
Yes, and it's scheduled for March 31st. And the message is very clear. Yes, we are prepared for further escalation of the situation, but it's not going to hurt all the civil liberties, and we'll have our presidential election on time.
So is it explicit in whatever legislation was passed that it
Yes.
won't be, because that was the accusation that they were saying, because the president's ratings have plummeted, that he would in fact be bringing this in to somehow alter his electoral future.
So
and you're
today
saying
the Ukrainian parliament has specifically voted on the election, and it assigned the election to March the 31st, exactly as the Constitution says.
And when you say that it won't infringe on any civil liberties, because the legislation itself leaves, it seems that there is the possibility, for example, that there could be rules imposed on media. Are you saying that that won't be the case?
Not at all. I think this is exactly what it was said by the president. We want to make sure that we have all the necessary defense tools in this situation. And if we go back to the situation, to what happened in the Azov Sea and in Kerch, we are witnessing appearance of a new theater of war. It's a direct military action, and for the first time we see Russian military openly attacking the Ukrainian military, and actually not hiding behind the backs of some green men as it was in the Crimea, or local mercenaries as it was in Donbass. It's Russian military attacking Ukrainian military.
Is that why this time martial law is being brought into
Precisely.
effect versus the other two?
Precisely. And if we look at the situation in the Black Sea region and in the Azov Sea region, we see that Russia had been preparing to this situation for quite a long time. There are major Russian deployments on land, in sea and in air, and I think things might go really bad in the area.
Can I ask you to expand on that? What does go really bad mean? For example, is the government worried about this moving towards land?
Well, it means that Russia will not stop where it is right now. They are looking for other ways to advance. And I guess some of your audience had a chance to see this video of this Russian patrol vessel attacking the Ukrainian tug, which is 4 sizes smaller. And when you watch this video, there was something which I was really struck by, that it's the emotions. When you hear this Russian captain screaming and yelling, hit him, squeeze him, crush him. Now we have radio intersections which show that there were clear orders to shoot into our soldiers. There were clear orders to ram the Ukrainian tug. That kind of shows you what the emotional situation in the region is.
Do you think an escalation is inevitable?
Well, it's already an escalation because
a further escalation then?
Yes, I think there is a huge chance for that. And again, now we have recent interceptions of radio exchanges between the Russian Navy, and they refer to special orders which they had from Moscow, and they also mentioned the Russian Prime Minister and President Putin, and I think there are very clear signs that it's exactly what the Russians wanted to do in this situation.
Russia is saying that Ukrainian ships shouldn't have been there in the first place.
From the legal point of view, the situation is very clear. There is the United Nations Convention, and there is bilateral agreement between Ukraine and Russia, which specifically makes sure that there is free access through the Strait of Kerch. And this is something which we have been enjoying for years and years. But the last several months, the Russians have chosen to close the strait. They started major inspection of commercial vessels, and now they come to the point when they decided they can choose whom they will let through the strait or not.
If there is a further escalation, what does Ukraine want from the rest of the world? What kind of support do you need from the rest of the world? And could you be specific?
Yes, we need more pressure on Russia, and we need to make sure that Russia gives us back our soldiers. We need to make sure that Russia gives us back our ships, our vessels. We need to ensure free passage through the Strait of Kerch. It's not just for Ukraine, it's for all the countries which act in the region. But moreover, I think this is the good time to rethink, revisit how we treat Russia, and I think it's a good time to put more sanctions on Russia.
Do you think Canada should put more sanctions?
Absolutely, and this is exactly what we asked Canada for, and I can say that we are very happy with the quick and prompt response from Canada. Canadian Minister of Foreign Affairs Freeland had a phone conversation with Ukrainian Minister Klimkin, and all my meetings in the Global Affairs, in the Prime Minister's office and in the Department of Defense tell us that we have partners who clearly understand us. We want Canada to do its work, and also we expect Canada to use its presidency in G7 to make sure that we have unified consolidated voice of the free world to put more pressure on Russia.
Has anyone from the Canadian government promised you or any of your colleagues that there will be more sanctions to come?
Well, there is a statement by Foreign Minister of Canada, Chrystia Freeland, who is very clear on what Canada thinks of this situation. And she also says that she is in touch with G7 partners and with NATO partners. And I hope that this will include all the possible tools how to put more pressure on Russia.
We watched the UN today, for example, try and figure out a solution, and it was not an easy go. Does that worry you about the possibility of a concerted world effort, or the prospect of a concerted world effort to apply more pressure on Russia, and the possible, the drawbacks or that it won't happen to the degree that your country is hoping?
Actually, if we listen to the statements that were made at the United Nations, there are not too many surprises, but I think the language of our Western friends was very clear. That includes the United States of America, Poland, and our other partners. And I think there is enough of countries in the world who understand that this is a really important situation. And if you watch this video, it's kind of like pirates attacking other ships. You see them hunting, enjoying this hunt. You see that they would not hesitate before shooting or crushing anyone around them. And I think it's really important for all the democratic world to come together on this.
Okay, I'll leave it there. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you, Vasha.
Appreciate your time.